They all laughed. Not a soft chuckle, not a polite smile. They laughed with that sharp, echoing kind of mockery that sinks deeper than any words could. My family had always seemed close. At least, I believe we were. But that afternoon, when I finally stood my ground, when I drew the line I'd been inching toward for years, their laughter was louder than anything I had ever experienced. They had cut me off, financially, emotionally, in every way that mattered. Convinced I would crumble, that I would beg, that I would apologize for daring to set boundaries around my own life. At first, it burned. I won't pretend it didn't. There's a distinct pain that comes from being betrayed by the people who claim to love you unconditionally. Disbelief and anger collided all at once. But somewhere between their derisive tones and the beat of my own heart, a quiet clarity began to take shape. I realized something I'd never let myself admit before. I didn't need their approval. Not for my life, not for my choices, not for my sense of worth. That evening, I packed my things with a calm I barely recognized in myself. Every item tucked carefully, every photograph returned to its frame. I left with nothing but my dignity and a certainty I had never felt before. I didn't look back. The door clicked shut behind me like punctuation at the end of the sentence I had written for myself. The road ahead was uncertain, but it was mine. And for the first time in years, I felt truly alive, walking by my own rules. Days became weeks, and the silence from my family was deafening. Calls went unanswered, messages ignored, invitations declined. For a fleeting moment, doubt crept in. Had I been too harsh? Had I drawn the line too firmly? But every time that thought surfaced, I remembered their laughter, how they had tried to break me with ridicule rather than conversation. My resolve only strengthened. I spent those weeks rebuilding not just my life, but my sense of self. Small victories, quiet routines, and solitary moments that felt like reclamation. Then, almost imperceptibly, the tone began to shift. A text from my sister, brief and hesitant. A neighbor mentioning that my parents had asked about me. And one chilly evening, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened the door, and there they stood, my parents, eyes wide, faces taut with a mix of shame and desperation. I recognized their posture immediately, the posture of people who realize a mistake too late. They had assumed my absence was temporary, that I would return, contrite and pleading. They hadn't counted on the quiet strength I had nurtured while they laughed, nor the calm I had cultivated in their absence. I didn't rush them. I didn't speak first. I let the moment stretch, deliberate and measured. They stumbled over their words, half apologies, half explanations, trying to undo years of dismissal with minutes of pleading. The irony wasn't lost on me. The same laughter that had once cut me down now came in whispers, hesitant and weak. And yet, despite the tension, I felt a sense of control I had never known. I listened. I let them fumble through their regrets while I stood firm, unmoved. Their words tried to pierce the armor I had built. But I had learned the power of silence, of measured restraint. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't beg for acknowledgement. I simply observed. And in observing, I realized how much power I had reclaimed, not over them, but over myself. Their apologies grew longer, more insistent, as if sheer volume could erase the years of neglect and the sneers that accompanied every attempt I had made to assert myself. I had expected an emotional storm, anger, tears, but instead, I felt only quiet certainty. I had changed. I had survived. I had outlasted their mockery. And in that stillness, I saw clearly that any reconciliation, if it were to happen at all, would occur on my terms. Eventually, they paused, breathless, waiting for a response. For a moment, I might have softened. Instead, I simply nodded once deliberately and said, "I hear you." Nothing more. The words were brief, neutral, yet they carried the weight of every lesson, every boundary I had set, every moment I had chosen myself over the need to please. It was enough. As I closed the door behind them, I didn't feel triumph. I didn't feel resentment. I felt something far deeper. Freedom. The laughter that had once wounded me was replaced by the calm recognition of my own worth. And in that recognition, I understood that the power to define my life had always been mine, not theirs, not anyone else's. And now, finally, it truly was.